Cameron, how are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for coming on. So as we're starting, could you go ahead and just tell me about a little bit more about Haystack and about how you've gotten there?
Yeah, of course. Well, thanks for having me. Haystack is a employee experience product in the category of modern intranets. I think we try to stay away from that I word as much as possible. But started the company a little over 3.5 years ago with my co-founder. I was actually sitting on the other side of the table. My manager told me, go find an intranet product that we'll actually use out there. Couldn't do it. So I did what any rational human being would do and quit his job and go spend the next 3 years building one of those. So now we work with companies like CreditKarma, BuzzFeed, NerdWallet, Chime, Gopuff, and a bunch more to go do exactly that, is build modern intranets. So a place for employees to start their day online.
Love that so much. So let's go ahead and dive into our first question. So our first question is, how can companies improve their employment engagement?
Yeah. So, specifically talking about customers that we work with, which are like 500 plus employees, with our mission of making big companies feel smaller. I think it starts with high quality content. How to keep employees engaged in what they're working on is like keeping employees in the loop, keeping everything very transparent, and making sure that you're communicating them with like high quality content. Some of our most engaged customers from like a product perspective are putting out high quality content, good looking assets, interesting articles, interesting data, and being fully transparent about their business where they can be to all their employees. And as a result, people use the product and stay engaged at work.
Love that so much. Our next question is, what are some examples of tech tools companies can implement to improve the employee experience?
Yeah, obviously, you're going to say the intranet, but I think there's a caveat there, right? It's like our mission statement's making big companies feel smaller, not necessarily purposely built for small companies. So I think for large companies, especially over 500 employees, especially for those who have a distributed employee base, an intranet's a perfect tool of building kind of this digital long form memory of the company. It's fully branded as your company. It's a great culture tool. I would say as an aside for maybe a blanket statement, employee recognition, I think is a fantastic tool for keeping employees motivated and recognized for their work. I think there's like another thing that people don't really talk about with employee recognition, which is that it can sometimes form like the long form memory of a company and what things you did there. When you look at someone's recognition over time, you can see the projects that they were a part of and the initiative that they helped build. So if it's not an intranet, then I'd say that a recognition tool is a great one to improve the employee experience.
Yeah, love that. I love that. That sounds great. Next question is, tell me about your team at Haystack. Like, how are they all like working together? Just tell me a little bit about them. And like so when you're building your team, what are some things you're looking at also?
Yeah. So the team's fully remote today. We do meet up a couple times a year, and I'm really happy every time we do so. It's always funny when you meet people in person, you realize like who's super tall, what the back of their head looks like, all those kind of things. But yeah, team's fully remote, and we work mainly. Well, we try to dog food our product as much as possible. I mentioned earlier that it's mainly built for large companies, but we really encourage the company to use Haystack. Today we call our own instance the farm. And yeah, we pretty much use that and Slack to go do the majority of our work. But I would say, what do we look for? I can answer this with a real example today is I love really motivated, hungry people, especially on like the go-to-market side of the business. So like sometimes they tend to be like ex-athletes from college. I also really love taking bets on people who have switched careers. Like one of my favorite employees to work with was previously an architect who switched into a completely different role. And I think that perspective shift has allowed her to go view the business in really interesting ways. So love hungry, motivated people, but also love people who take bets on themselves and have made pretty dramatic career shifts lately.
Yeah, I love that. So another question I have is just one I thought of. So when you guys like put out your different applications, is there like different key things that you put in to your applications? So when people go and apply to the jobs, like I want this type of candidates, like is there something like that you like stick in there a little bit?
Oh, that would be a Jesse. Jesse's or like a head of people. He definitely includes some like Easter eggs in the applications to make sure that people are paying attention to things. That's a Jesse idea. That's his domain. I won't take credit for it. He's very proud of it, and everyone that we've hired has picked up on those little cues thus far, for sure.
I love that. And our
Yeah.
last question. So do you think if people come to work and they have a purpose, do you think they usually will work a little bit better?
Yeah, of course, right?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
purpose-driven people, mission-driven people. I literally just got off the call with the new product leader that we hired recently.
Hmm.
And the way that we were looking at the roadmap for next year was all about purpose, all about mission. So
Yeah.
totally agree with you on that one.
I love that. I love that. Well, Cameron, thank you so much for coming on today. I definitely love like learning more about Haystack, learning more about you. But one more thing before we leave, tell me one fun
Yeah.
fact about yourself.
One fun fact about myself. I was a fencer. I was a collegiate fencer. I fenced in college, which I feel like it's like a forgotten sport and love doing it. It was fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
so fencer and now co-founder of
Co-founder.
Haystack.
Yep.
They kind of sort of just go together just a little bit.
Kind of. Yeah. Fencing farm. Well, yeah, that
Right.
makes sense.
Well, Cameron, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to working with you in the future.